Welcome, my name is Mike Hamilton from Trade the Easy Way, and I'm just going to take you through what I'm seeing in the markets. And good start to the week, very good start to the week. If you are in the US markets, I bought dips in gold today. And just looking for this to pop up to 1812 and through. Look at this overall trend line. If I pinch back, you can see this is a major support. We're broken up here into middle last week. Now we pulled right back into December last year's levels, or right back into this level from last Monday. So I'm hoping that that will continue to pick up overnight and into tomorrow. If not, I will reassess, but that's what, obviously we're going to end up with a lower close today, but that looks good. Right, let's go zip through the markets. Look at the NASDAQ. Very, very strong markets at the moment. And you can see we are climbing back. So we've broken up through a key trend line, hesitated on Thursday, closed higher on Friday, and now we're sitting up into Monday. So if the NASDAQ leads, what the NASDAQ does, the rest of the markets tend to follow. So spiders, S&Ps, looking as if they're heading for 4,400. Dow looking as if it can break through 34,000 and go higher. Obviously, we're about to hit a major pivot resistance there. Bear with you one moment. Okay, let's look at the FTSE. That at the moment, that's really struggling there. So if we can't close, if we close on the 74.75, we are lower. If we look at, this has been recorded, so if you missed anything, don't worry. Let's look at the China. Let's look at the Nikkei pushing up. I'm long a Japanese fund, have been for a while since these dips. China. So some weak Chinese data, but at the moment the market is sitting up and surviving. If we can continue to stay up here, then we can push higher. Otherwise, we look as if we could peel back lower at the moment. And oil. Decent decline in the London session, but right into key support. And so we've opened up to neutral in this area. Path of least resistance. I think the obvious thing is to say is we're going to stay in this range, isn't it? I think we can pop higher. I think if we close above, stay above this 89.90 area, I think that can pop higher. Gold, gold we've looked at, right, moving across the market. A quick look at the DAX, then we'll move on. Same as the FTSE, a bit of a spinning top, which suggests to me that that needs to come lower before that'll find buyers. Going to go straight into commodities we've already looked at. We'll have a quick look at a couple of commodities. Soybeans are pulling back. Might come and see 1370, at which point I think that's viable. The wheat. I'm still bullish wheat. I think this pullback is viable, and I think if we close above 850. I think we're going to grind back into these resistance areas. So I am bullish on the grains and commodities in general. Same for corn. Gas is sitting up, pulled back into support today. We look as if we could break these highs. I think ultimately we could be going up to these levels up here at 11,340. If we break these highs, which I think we can do, I think this is very much higher. This looks a bit like a slingshot. So decent move higher, pull back into a trend, start to push higher last week, pull back. I think we can go right up to these highs. If we start closing underneath this trend line, then that's a different story, but I think the gas is higher. Quick look at copper. Copper's struggling. Got a lot of data this week on housing. And in fact, data front, we've got UK jobs tomorrow morning. And Fed minutes Wednesday, Euro GDP Wednesday. US retail sales. I think the highlight of the week is US retail sales on Wednesday. And moving on into stocks, we'll start looking at UK banks, then we're going to look at some US stocks as well. We'll start with UK. Let's find Lloyd's. Sideways to higher. These dips have got bought. Break up here. Every little pullback at the moment is getting bought. So Lloyd's could come up on 550 plus. Barclays. Same story. We've hit 170 as a strong area of resistance, but every time you bump into it, it gets weaker. I think that's higher. And HSBC struggling. We may pull back a little bit into that. AJ Bell, sticking with financial services, that's had a good move off of these lows at 250. I think any pullback to £3, 310 is viable on that one. Standard Chartered, sideways. Paypoint. I think this is a new introduction of a trade idea, and because I think this one could go a lot higher. Ideally, I like to go back into, peel back into this support, but if we keep closing higher, then you're going to have to buy higher. Volumes that are significant, picking up nicely down here. So if you get a chance to buy 580, 590, I would. Otherwise, like I said, you may have to buy higher. Direct Line, big dividend payer, is pushing up. So it got really knocked off its pedestal, but is, I think it's, if we see anything close to £2, I think that is viable. Volumes are okay, not brilliant, beginning to improve. Legal & General, having a really good run. If we close above this 284, I think we're going to see £3, 310 quickly. Right, let's going to move. I'll keep this nice and short. Let's look at retail, UK retail. Boo is trying to pick up. I think it's a sector I would personally have very limited risk with. ASOS, wow, that looks lower. That's really struggling. If that closes above 890, then that's coming all the way back down to 820. That's building. That is building on volume. Tesco. Looks higher at this stage. A little bit concerned that the volume seems to be thinning out. Sainsbury's. At the moment, any pullback into 218, 215 is viable. That looks like it's capable of going to 227 plus. Nothing else I want to look at there. EasyJet. Building. I think at this stage, you're going to have to try and buy £4, 4.10, otherwise leave it. British Airways, etc. Same pattern. Above a trend line, holding up. Not a great sector for me. Right, let's look at energy. By all means, punch in anything you want me to look at. Let's look at tallow. So the weak oil is pulling this back, which I think is to our advantage, because if we pull back into towards 45, I think that's viable. So the short-term downward pressure on oil appears to be, so it's in a channel. We've hit the top of the channel and coming lower. So any push into 45, 47 is potentially viable, but that looks short-term lower, longer-term higher. PFC, GKP hit the buffers a bit at 245, pulling back. I think any move back into 225, 220 is viable on that one. Stop underneath recent lows. BP. That is a short to medium term sell signal, or at least a pullback. That is really, it's a bit of a political football at the moment, but that looks short term lower. Right, let's look at, I'm not going to look at all sectors, let's go to the most important. Look at miners. Pan-African, it's been, oh, right, pulled right back on itself. Up to 21, down to 19.8. I have to say on that evidence, that looks as if they could peel right back to 18 at this stage. I'm in this one, so hoping that would hold up. Griffin. Really struggling, don't like that one. Sentiment I thought was looking higher. That has been on a decent run. May need a pullback into 87. Right, and what else am I looking at? I'm not going to bother with housing. Not a lot to look at on IT. Vast, no point looking at that, that's gone. SEE. Yeah, this is having a nice move off of 5. I think any dips into 5.5, 5.8. Very speculative stock. Transport technology innovator. So these stocks, particularly in the US, have been beaten up. Yeah, of course, TPI cap. Elementis has had a nice run into 18. Looks as if that could pull back to 110. TPI cap. It's been on a great run. Still going, still holding up. That's now at very close to a lot of resistance. I think that could easily pull back. It seems to be not. I could be wrong. It's difficult. Once something breaks out, it's harder to call. But if you wanted to get in this, I would Be very patient. See if you can get 135, 140. Otherwise, you know, that's very, very high. It's into resistance, put it that way. Man Group. I like this stock. I think it's got a lot of legs. If it pops back on the 240, that's short term lower. IGG, right, okay. Yeah, this IG's been on a good run, isn't it? Why have I not got much data on this? This stock's been around for quite a while, hasn't it? It's right up at April highs, but volumes are consistently good. If you're not in it, I would wait for a pullback, possibly as low as £8. If you're in it, it looks capable of going, who knows, maybe up to 10 or more, who knows. Good stock, good volume. Are you in this, Yonka? Cmcx, what's that? Oh, CNC markets, right. Ooh, yeah, because we've just seen IG doing really well, and this one is struggling. Pretty messy chart, really. Yuck. I don't like that at all. So if we lose out, we close underneath 240, this is sunk. It's just having a rough ride, isn't it? All the highs are selling. Yeah, I mean, there's a huge amount of support under there. I'm suspicious that this could go any higher. Right. Well, I'm not. They're in danger of falling through 238. I wouldn't buy it based on the fact the volume is rubbish. I think that we're coming up on lower volume. I think this could get dropped. I'll be very cautious on that one. And what else? I'm going to switch to US now. Just not finding. I'm really struggling trying to find good UK stocks. Really struggling. Yeah, I think the Vodafones and BTs of this world. Let's look at those quickly. Rolls-Royce. Volumes the last few days have been okay. If that closes back above 90, it could move, but wow, not great. BT. I do like this stock. I've been in and out this a few times the last couple of years, but it looks very unhealthy at the moment. I think that's lower. I've got to say at the moment, I think that could come and see 148, 150. Vodafone, I'm in Vodafone still. Just about holding up. Not a lot I could say. Right, I'm looking at US now, and then I'll finish up. FLR. Well, very decent volumes right into Friday. A bit of a spinning top there, so I'm not surprised to see this pulling back. As long as as long as we don't close underneath 225.5, I think that's higher. We've got a gap fill up there at 28. So I wouldn't mind betting you might come and see 25.5, and then if there's buyers still committed to this stock, I think we're going to fill the gap at 28 plus. EMH, right, okay, we'll look at that in a second. CCJ. I think it's all right based on this move from the 27th of July. It looks as if it needs to go down to 23.50 to find some more buyers. You might see that go and close that gap. I mean, technically it's closed because it's because of the 20th of July, but we've gapped up, so you might find that going to 23.5, at which point I think that will get bought. FCX. Yeah, I mean, copper, this is very much what like is mirroring copper. This is a copper miner. If we close under 28.80, this is lower. I suspect if we can hold this 30.50 or certainly keep above 30, then you've got the potential to go to 35. In fact, we've got a gap fill up there at 34, haven't we? You might find it coming lower initially the next day or two, but overall it does look all right. PLab, don't know PLab. Let's have a look at PLab. Electronics. Wow. What do these guys do, Cecil? Chips. Ah, right, okay. Because that means something else in the UK, but yeah. As in fried potatoes. Yeah, that looks really good. Decent move on Friday, pull back today. If we can crack this 25.50 semiconductors, yeah. If we can crack this Friday high, then we should see 28.60 pretty quick. Decent stock. Had a really good run in May, early June. Took a long time to pull back, as did the market, I guess. Yeah, it's just mirrored the NASDAQ, really, isn't it? Yeah, but it looks good. I mean, any pullback to 23 is viable by the look of that. But it looks if we could go to 28 at 30 at this stage. Just yeah, we might even crack this high today. Who knows? Looks good. Right. What else do I want to look at? Let's look at some other decent. Let's look at Twilio. Twilio, the volumes are doing all right, but it's not. The price is not doing a lot. That's sideways at best on Twilio. Roku earnings Thursday, right? Okay, let's close the gap on volume. I think Roku's good. It looks, you know what, the way that volume's sitting up there, I think that's just potentially going to keep going. I'd be very surprised to see Roku dip anymore, but hey, yeah, that's anything's possible. Roku looks good. MU kept up, volume's good. Get above the 65, then we're higher. Path, yuck, sideways. I know what I was going to look at. Let's look at Uber. That's already been on a run. That's just sitting sideways, but overall looking higher. DK, I've forgotten the ticker. Yeah, DraftKings, is that what I wanted? Wow, that's been on a decent run. But look at the volume. The volume supports this. We're moving higher on volume. Teledoc, that's what I want to look at, Teledoc. Wow, that is not a great chart, is it? I expected to see a better chart than that. Okay, scrap it. I'm not trading that one. Brilliant. All right, well, any last call before I sign off? Baba. I come to something when Baba's sitting down here. But, for any retailers, what hope is there for any retailers if this one can't pick up? It is looking all right, you know. Not a bad stock, you know, at this stage. It doesn't start getting above that 100 mark soon, then that's bust. I tell you what, if that holds 100, that could get to 120 pretty quick on Baba. Brilliant. Have fun, guys. I've got to run.